One. All right. There will be bourbon. It's here. I have a little well, first off, I meant to say this. I'm off whatever I was supposed to do because my esteemed guest that'll be popping on is extremely late. All right. He was in the Air Force, so I'm going to try not to hold that against him too long, but I don't expect him to be on time in the right uniform, right place, none of that stuff. It's not something they do, right? Look at him. He's drinking moonshine, it looks like. Or is that tequila? Tequila. I knew it. That's awful. Don Julio Reposado. Look at that. So what I did want to say, last month, March, was the best month for There Will Be Bourbon from the digital download side. So anytime you stream, download from Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you get actual podcasts. Biggest month with the caveat that did not include an appearance from Clay Martin. Which, to be fair,
biggest one?
Yeah. Well, he was a part of the biggest month.
Okay. I was going to say, because you've had two big names on there, like Terry and
yeah, no, so I mean, in terms of individual, but to the month part, it was January 21, I think was the last time Clay came on, because after he did his second book, I think.
Yeah,
so
with the
month,
election.
and I don't know if it was because I just released as many in that month, but whatever. Either way, the point of this is that this continues to grow for some reason. I don't know why, but I appreciate anyone who actually takes the time to listen to anything I say. So that's a plus. And then so the biggest single most downloads and views, because I don't really care about the YouTube thing. This is mainly just so I can have an audio and a visual, or a video, an audio and a video version of this so I can upload. Once upon a time, the old Nick guy showed me how to do this, right? It was when Floof was on. Rob Roberts, remember like late last year, he got into that little dust up. I can't even remember the dude's name, that NBC thing. But he had just been on like 2 weeks prior. So everyone was like, who the fuck is this guy? And they Googled and found him. And so, the YouTube stuff, usually people like him will probably get maybe 200, 300 views, right? Most people download the thing on, like I said, on the audio side. I'm sitting at the airport and he's texting me. He's like, hey, watch this. And I'm like, he starts showing me all this stuff that's going on with him on some random dude he's in an argument with on Twitter, who happened to be an actual big name, I guess. I don't know. Next thing I know, when I landed, they had like 3,000 downloads. I'm like, what the fuck are people doing? They really wanted to see what this guy was. So yeah, that was the biggest one all time.
Oh, outstanding. Well, I got you 2 new followers tonight.
Oh, thank you to you guys.
Hell yeah. Huge help.
Let's go. There we go. All right. So that's, again, so thank you for those who do, like I said, take any time to stream, download, whatever it is you do to watch There Will Be Bourbon or listen. And as always, tonight's discussion with the good Curtis will be fueled by America's native spirit. And tonight's a little Green River, the pride of Owensboro, Kentucky. Actually, a really cool story. I got 2 versions of this story, right? So on the bottle's always got cool little, summaries of it. So it was founded in 1885 by John McCullough as Kentucky's 10th oldest distillery at the time. Green River was celebrated for quality and became known as the whiskey without regrets before being lost to history because of Prohibition and a fire. But anyway, a little deeper into that. So to this day, Green River lore is some of the most fascinating in the whiskey world, known as the most expensive spirit ever sold. 20 barrels were once traded for interest in a Colorado gold mine. Songs were penned about the whiskey without a headache, and early reviews in the 1800s described it as a king amongst whiskeys. And then, like I said, it was lost during Prohibition. There was a fire. It took forever to come back. But, they brought the distillery back. You can go visit. It's still on the same property in Owensboro. And the reason I have this, because I've never seen this out here. So my parents actually were at the annual Kentucky Bourbon Festival last year, and they picked this up. They thought it was good. They thought I'd like it. Tried it a couple of weeks ago, and it's pretty fucking good. So there you go. And what are you doing with, what do you got? Tequila on,
We got some Don Julio. We were looking for 1912, but I fucked up and didn't plan correctly, so I didn't have time to go get
that's twice,
bottle.
Right? That's twice tonight. Late.
It was all in the same trip. I had to go to Walgreens instead of my normal store because my wife volunteered me to buy some shit for school.
Well, that's what wives do, I guess, right? Volunteer.
Oh, they're great at it, man.
All right, and also with me tonight will be Frank, as he's racked out currently at the moment. So, we were talking before we came on here. I wanted to actually get your take on this because one of the things I find, like, your account is it's pretty fucking funny. It's great to follow. And where can they find you, real quick, as we get going on Twitter?
Well, for at least the next month until I get banned again, not WTF OMG barbecue BBQ, or not WTF OMG BBQ.
Yeah,
is my handle.
that is his handle. Where does that come from?
Dude, I don't even remember.
Yeah,
it was. I mean,
that's what you had back when we were doing the Goon Zooms, 3 years ago. I can't believe it's been fucking 3 years, man.
Dude, that's insane.
Yeah,
that's nuts. It's been that long, but I think I was drunk when I started my Twitter account, and it was just the first thing that popped in my head.
And so that's barbecue guy like Claude?
Do what?
Are you a big barbecue guy like Claude? I don't see the pictures like Claude.
Not as much as I used to be, man. When I was single, I had 3 smokers in my backyard. I've got kids now, and doing old school smoking takes a whole day.
Yeah.
And that's pretty hard with small kids. So I cheat and use a Traeger, man. I'm not proud of it.
We've already talked about one of the individual's Traeger stories. There's now a new addition. There's been a new addition to the Traeger crew. Drew Mullins has popped on. I don't know if you've noticed that lately.
I saw his amazing looking salmon last night.
Yeah, I'm waiting to run into him. We're supposed to get together for a game out here soon.
Oh shit, you're up in his AO now.
Yeah, he's up here. He already hooked me up with some Nationals tickets. So he's a good dude. Yeah, looking forward to hanging out with him once we finally link up. Maybe this Friday. We'll see. We'll see.
Dude, next football season, you got to text me. I got a friend who's a coach of the whatever in the hell the Redskins are now.
Oh yeah, the Commanders.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Whatever. They're about to get sold, from what I hear. Which, like,
are they really?
$6 billion is like the offer. 6 or 7.
Oh,
isn't that crazy? Because I feel like that Schneider is his name. I think he bought them for only a few $100 million, if even that, at the time.
Yeah,
like, that's a hell of a return on investment,
Oh, dude, Jerry Jones and all them guys who bought them football teams. God damn, their accountants have got to be looking for.
I think the best story I remember was the Mara family of the Giants. I think when they purchased them, or when whatever the fee it may have been to start them, because I don't know if they were the original owners or not, but I think at the time they paid $10,000.
Oh, kidding.
No, over 100 years ago, right? It was like 19.
Yeah, but still.
But yeah, you think about now. I mean, just the real estate alone with the stadium is several billion, and then you take the value of the team. Like, that's insane.
It's nuts, man. It's like cryptocurrency when you look at it. That guy who lost billions in a damn dump, and you try to. I can't process it, man. I just can't.
I still don't think that's real. Can't be real money. I just don't see the value in it.
Until it's in the
bank
bank account.
I don't get it. Like, I don't have it up here to understand what that stuff's supposed to be. I've had people try to explain it.
And I've got some. I dabble in it, and I had fun in the heyday, and I made good money off of it. But it was like gambling to me. It wasn't an actual investment. It's fucking, if I lose it, buy it later. All right, I made some money. Sweet, let's go buy something to eat.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so so Twitter, that's where we were starting. So I've been messing around with it. It was kind of funny. Like, do you follow that account, the Cultural Tutor? I retweeted.
I do not. I will though.
Yeah, definitely check it out, because he does a lot of cool stuff on history. And like this morning, the one he posted was about the evolution of Twitter, is what it started with, but then just the evolution of website design from the early 90s to the 2000s to now, and how it kind of mimics art, and that, we were in this very neoclassical, very simplistic style, to now everything's gotten really clean and minimalist, like art, essentially, right? Because if you look at early websites, a lot of them were just, there's a shit everywhere, super cluttered. And now he puts a good example of like the Tesla website. You look at Tesla, and now you look at it, it's just like a car, and there's like 2 things. And same with Microsoft. It was like this weird looking thing. And now so it is kind of cool, like, to see that, because I don't think most people realize, especially like you've got young kids. My kids probably, they don't realize the evolution of what they see, and they just grew up with it, right?
Oh, Yeah,
You
dude.
remember those Angel Fire websites in the 90s?
Oh yeah, the ones where you had the fireworks go off on your
Yeah,
page.
it was
Pictures
awful.
of your cats and shit on it.
It was awful. It was so awful, and it's kind
Oh,
of crazy to see what it started and what it is now. Like what you
I,
can do on a.
I'm glad I don't remember whatever in the hell I posted way back in or how to find it because I'd be embarrassed as shit.
Oh shit, dude! I remember I have an instant messenger in high school, and my screen name was short for Polish pimp. Like it was Pole Pimp 18 because 18 was my number. I was like, oh, Polish pimp. It's like, really, dude? Like when you look back on that, what was that? I was 17. So
yeah, 90s. Oh God.
Man, just the dumbest stuff you do when you're a kid. But yeah, you're right. It's like that stuff's out there. I'm sure someone can find it. I don't know.
Oh yeah, Wayback Machine or something. It's there.
Yeah. That was what the Wayback. I think that had to do with Rob, like with Floof's thing.
Yes.
That dude.
Yeah, we found a bunch of
family or
info
something.
on that.
Yeah, that's fucking nuts, man. So my point was though, he did show like some screenshots of Twitter was 2006, I think is when it started. 09 is when I started really messing with it for the first time, and kind of how it started to get into where it is now. But they show, I think it was 2012, and I think still, if you weren't on then you wouldn't remember it. But I still think like 2012 to 2016 was like peak Twitter.
Oh, it was Wild West. I don't even remember the screen name I had back then. Because it was before I found this circle and some other circles on Twitter, and I was just an idiot. But it was, I mean, you could literally post anything except for "I'm going to murder you," and you were fine.
Yeah, it did take it took a while to get some traction. I remember being like, I think I was still doing my undergrad at the time when I went back to school, and I just remember being in the library at UCF, like, man, it's been like 6 months, and I have like 2 followers. I'm tweeting fire here, man. Like no one where's my. And I really actually started researching how to get followers and how to figure out like the whole hashtag thing was coming into play at the time, which to me in the moment I was just like, that makes no sense. They really like if I put a pound in front of something, it's a fucking hashtag, and all of a sudden whatever. That shit I'm not a software engineer. I don't understand any of that stuff. But it did work. Like it worked. It slowly started working. And I remember like them doing early ESPN interviews with Shaq, who was like 40,000 followers, Shaquille O'Neal. And it's like, damn, that's a lot of people. Now you're like, dude, fucking anonymous cat Twitter accounts have 40,000 followers, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Buttbuster 69 is at 50 grand or whatever.
Yeah, and he's verified with a blue check, so that's pretty legit. Right? So
I love the blue check.
Yeah, I just love how people have lost their minds over it, man.
Oh, it's freaking hilarious. And then you're like, dude, you're worth millions of dollars. You ain't got $8, dude. Come on.
That meme, you see that meme where it's like, you ain't got $8, and it's the other one is like, this dude paid $8. It's just hilarious.
Well, the shit with celebrities that mind boggles me is like if I made my living off that, they get so much free advertising that way.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it's the fans who pay. I mean, in the end, those are the people who are paying your freaking paychecks. And you can't pay $8 to assure them they're really following the right guy. Come on now, dude.
Yeah, it is just weird how that side of the entertainment industry, like it's the entitlement, right? It's like they assume like people. It's the same thing with sports, people are willing to pay, right? I'll never argue about what someone gets paid. I'd like more power to you, man. If you can get someone that invested in what you do from a performance standpoint and get paid millions and millions of dollars to do it, then great, good for you. But
you won't catch me hating on them.
Yeah, but don't think for a second that because of your ability to do that or to, recite some lines on a screen is somehow inherent value. That value comes from others.
Exactly.
Like, you're not entitled to be a fucking millionaire because you read some lines on a screen. It's because people actually, whatever reason, take the time to pay to go watch you do that.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the mind blowing me. And it's a dumbass hill to die on for me. It's just really $8, bro. You're flying 10 grand across. I mean, a private jet's 10 grand from here to Vegas. And I know that because I bought it before. I didn't want to, but it was death of family kind of shit. 10 grand last minute for a private jet. You're making $100 million and you can't freaking spend $8. Come on, dude.
It's the stuff like that I think is pretty fun. And like even what was it, Stephen King this week, and that I'm not even gonna mention the other guy's name because I don't think he has any value. He's just living off of dead people, which is really weird to me. But
Yeah, that too.
yeah, but Stephen King I didn't do that. Everybody's like, he needs to donate money to you. Donate my $8 to Ukraine. And did you see Elon Musk with the troll? He was like, I've already donated $100 million to Ukraine.
Yeah.
And
Dude,
Stephen King's like, oh, that's great. Yeah, Slava Ukraine. It's like, dude, it's kind of like what you said. You're kind of chasing the wrong thing if you're upset about Elon Musk, because the guy, whether you like him or not personally, I don't even think it's a personal thing. It's just because he's not on the left side.
Well, the dude's a centrist. I mean, he's not even on the right
That's
side.
true. Yeah, it's true. He's probably normal, and that's what people aren't used to seeing. He's normal when it comes to that.
And that's one of the beautiful things about him. He's like if one of us was a billionaire, except we're a lot dumber.
Yeah, it's true. I am for sure. I am.
Oh yeah. I'm not Elon Musk. I ain't worth any bees. I mean, but
few bucks.
The dude, it's hilarious. He uses his money in the funniest way, and I love it. It's the greatest thing I've ever seen. I'll never leave Twitter as long as he owns it.
I don't really, but that's the thing though, is like I think it's fun. Like it doesn't bother me that he owns it, right? I think, and because we go back a year ago, I didn't think it was gonna happen. I thought it was just more of a publicity stunt than anything. So I was surprised he went through with it.
I really think it was.
Yeah.
And I think he screwed up and entered some contracts that he thought he could get out of, and he got hosed.
Maybe, but
I mean, if you look at it, I've done a lot of business shit. I mean, I'm not rich, I'm not famous, I'm nobody cool, and I do want to preface at the beginning of this interview that I am a jack of all trades and a master of none. So don't take anything as gospel that I said. Yes, exactly. I've done a ton of shit, but I'm not an expert at any of it. I'm good at a lot of it, but I'm not the foremost expert either. But I mean, I've been in a lot of business deals, and that's what I think really happened is the guy was trying to troll, and if he could get it at a good price, he thought he could negotiate it down, and he got fucked on a contract.
But it's still nothing to him, really.
No, it's really not. That's what's even funnier about it is the guy's out dropping billions to troll people.
Yeah. Which I do remember like thinking, is Twitter 44 billion? Like that's like half the NFL.
Like, I mean, it's such a
much. I don't see how Twitter is worth anything, to be honest. I don't get it, which I respect him trying to make it profitable. But for the longest, like when he was releasing all that information about how they lose money every month, I'm like, well, yeah, I don't even see how you make it.
It wasn't a profitable company.
Yeah,
it wasn't
at all. I can't imagine they're getting hardly anything from ads, even. I just don't.
Well, and they weren't. And if you notice the ads you get now versus the ads you got 6 months ago, they're completely different. Like, I get more right-leaning ads. I get actually some right-leaning politicians, but I get more like outdoor stuff and more stuff that you would associate with my actual lifestyle versus before it was just a random crapshoot. I mean, you're trying to sell me a kid's game. You're trying to sell me this. And I mean, shit, all sorts of random shit. And it's a lot more targeted now. So it's,
I'm glad you bring that up because I think it's interesting that you're experiencing that because I'm not. I don't get like what do I tweet? I tweet fucking bourbon. I make fun of people and I complain about the Giants and the Bears. But I've never really gotten anything centered around those. Like I don't get ads for sports. I don't get ads for whiskey or bourbon. I don't get any of that. I get like
really
video game stuff or random shows that I would never watch because I don't watch TV. I watch sports, but I don't watch TV. So it's just
I don't either.
Turned off the targeted ad thing. I don't know.
Maybe it's something in the settings. I don't know, but I'm like you. I don't watch TV. We canceled all our cable. I bought cable again because the Astros were in the series.
That's fair.
And I want my kids to experience, man. I hate paying for it, and I hate a lot of the shit that got political in sports. But you know what, man? That's so cool for my kids.
Yeah.
And watching, I remember watching those with my dad, so it's kind of.
Yeah, you're kind of damned either way, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to understand why Dad wants to die on that hill, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's, I've got, like I said, I've got family who's NFL coaches, and I generally don't watch it, but I will if something cool happens, or we'll put on a game so the boys know that their uncle's playing and shit like that, or their uncle's coaching. Pardon me, and course, and I think I've tweeted I can't remember if I told you, but so I don't know if he's one of your favorite players for the Bears, but I'm sitting about 18 miles south of where Brian Urlacher was raised.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. It's so weird to me that dude is from New Mexico, of all places. Like, and to turn out to be like one of the greatest linebackers in NFL history, just like an incredible athlete from the middle of nowhere.
Oh, and I live in BFE. I live flat out in BFE. I mean, I got to drive 2 hours to Costco.
Awesome.
Or Target, closer. Target, Costco, Walmart. We've got a Walmart in town, but like Sam's 2 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours. Doctors, my dad's doctors, all 2 hours away. If I go to the VA, 4 hours.
Oh shit! What made you out there?
That's where I was born and raised.
Oh really? Okay.
My wife's actually from Orange County, California. She's not a spoiled rich kid, but they didn't grow up needing either. Yeah. And she actually wanted to move here, which was very surprising.
I was about to ask how that's going, because Orange County is great. I love the Angels. It's actually fairly conservative area. It's really nice, just super expensive, and definitely not like in the middle of nowhere.
The cars there, holy shit.
Yeah, it's a nice area. But it's still in California.
Dude, you're poor if you have a Mercedes there.
Yeah, it's I do like the area though. I was just there.
It's beautiful, man. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's just I can't take a gun there.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, you're still in California.
Yeah. I mean, if they could fix that clusterfuck, it'd be the best place in the world to live. The weather's amazing.
The weather, like, look, everything that has nothing to do with government about California is the best you'll find in this country, in my opinion, by far.
Dude, if you could remove the government, it hands down be the best state.
That's what I'm saying. Like, for all Governor Pick-Me, who knows I troll fucking Newsom on Twitter as Governor Pick-Me, because they do just begs for attention from anybody. But especially like DeSantis, like his obsession with Ron DeSantis is pretty funny. So I just said, like,
weird.
Well, he's that whole like thing from a few years ago, like the Pick-Me bitch, like, oh, pick me. That's Governor Newsom. He just wants someone to pay attention to him. So that's why I call him Governor Pick-Me. But yeah, if they could just swap, like if DeSantis and the Florida politics could swap and just let him turn California into Florida like it used to be, actually. Go back. It's not been that long.
In the 80s.
Mostly in our lifetimes, we've seen the shift. But yeah, California is amazing. It's just, like you said, everything that's government related is not. Cost of living sucks. Taxes suck. The people suck. Well, not the people, but just the amount of people. Let me put it that way. The amount of people suck. The cities suck because of politics.
And growing up here, like out in BFE, it is a whole world different experience. Like people there they go on about their business and they don't pay attention to anybody. To whereas here, everybody greets you, and you feel like you belong here. To whereas California, even in the nice areas like Orange County, you're just another pawn.
I will say that's a very Southern California thing, because I was Northern California, right?
Northern California, dude. Jefferson's,
yeah. You get up into Northern California, you get outside and north of Sacramento, and you start rolling up through, Placerville, and getting into the north part of Placer County as you head up towards Tahoe, or you stay left and go up towards past Auburn and Nevada City, all those areas. It's great. It's small town. It's fucking nice. It's fun. It's all, the people are amazing. But man, I'm telling you, it's that fucking state government just is.
Well, and that's the same way New Mexico's gone. I mean, 90% of us live out here in BFE, but you've got those metropolitan areas that are just putting in policies that are made for cities, and they screw us over.
Yeah, and that's one of the greatest disagreements I've ever had, and I'll never relent on, is I just, people who were like, the electoral college. It's like, yeah, not everybody wants to live like a fucking coastal city fucking person. Like not everyone does.
Well, no,
and it dictate based on how they lived, how everyone else in the country lives. That's just not fucking right.
Well, and kind of the deal about it is, I'm like I said, born and bred out here in flyover land, and people will never understand what it costs them when they do that shit, because like the EPA is a perfect example. Like, you got to have a diesel truck out here for damn near anything, but they put so many restrictions on these damn trucks. Trucks that used to be 20 grand are now 120 grand. And of course, some of that's because of this dumb Corona shit, but 60,000 of that is all the government regulation. You've got to have, piss in your freaking urethra in your stuff. You've got to, all the smog shit. And it's like, dude, you're literally putting more shit in the atmosphere by making all this shit, because I'm going to delete it. I'm taking that shit off anyway.
So that's a good transition, because we were talking about Elon. We obviously, he's very well known for the Teslas and the electric vehicles. I don't disagree with his overall premise that we have to at some point find a better energy source, right?
Yeah.
However, and you do live in the West, technically, right? I don't know how shitty your weather gets. You get bad weather down there or no?
Once every 4 years.
Okay, so not like the Northwest or like
no,
West,
oh God, no.
right? But I think, and this is what bothers me about California, because of all people that should know better, is like, look, Northern California is a real thing. You get into Tahoe and you get to the western side of Nevada, and you're in the eastern part of where California joins. Like, that's some real fucking winter weather.
Oh
and
yeah, you die.
Making mandates for 2035 to have all electric vehicles, and now he even came out and said even the trucks, like your trucking industry, has to be electric as well. It's like, have you not been through the fucking West in the winter?
Oh, dude. So if you pay attention to semis, right in front of the door, you'll see a silver sticker that's California Clean Idle, and that's all fucking California. Yeah. And it's them with their bullshit. You can't take a semi that does not have that made after certain years. It's been a few years since I've been out of the trucking industry, but we had to, if we expected, like in our downtimes, what I'd do with my semis is I'd send them on runs if we had if oil slowed down or whatever, and we had to make sure we had the California compliant one, because we'd have to turn down runs to California without it. And California leads the nation and shit like that, and people don't understand the effects California literally has on the rest of the nation with their bullshit.
Why do people keep voting for this?
Because we're retarded.
It's got to be like, I get a lot of it, right? I do, but at the same time, it's like this stuff doesn't all make sense. And especially when you see people, so many of them eager to flee it and go to other places, and then they just end up voting the same way anyway when they get there. All these people in California going to Idaho, Montana, Texas, wherever, they're all doing, they're turning those places the same.
Oh yeah. Texas especially. Luckily,
Texas is lost. I'm sorry, it's gone.
Dude, I disagree with you there.
That's fine.
Because
I don't mind being wrong. I want to be wrong. I was wrong about Florida. I thought, before DeSantis, literally before 4 years ago, if they didn't find Gillum in a fucking hotel room with a bunch of gay whores, Florida be gone too. Like, it would. That was a half a point election. That was half a point election, and 4 years later, it's 20 points, right? But there was that close in Florida. It was gone.
So the reason I used to agree with you on Texas. I mean, I'm 3 miles as a stone fly right now from the Texas border, and I agreed with you because it was kind of my experience. But what we did is a few weeks ago, we went on a family vacation, and we ended up meeting my in-laws who are moving from Orange County, California, at a hotel out there north of San Antonio. And I met so many people, all from California, Oregon, the whole West Coast. Almost 90% of the people I met were probably from the West Coast in some area, and they are fleeing, and they are not voting for that same bullshit. And it was pretty refreshing, honestly, to me, because I was the same thing. Y'all all assholes are going to come down here and doing this shit too.
Yeah.
And,
well, I mean, at some point it has to. Go ahead.
About half of them were immigrants, actually, from like a couple were from Poland.
Yeah.
And of course, the Polish people are probably pretty staunchly right because where they grew up.
But,
I mean, it was pretty impressive, and that kind of helped change my mind. And then talking to some other people on that trip while we were in the San Antonio area who were also looking at homes in that area and wanting to move to that area, all of them were fed up with it, and it wasn't that they felt persecuted. Honestly, a lot of them said they felt persecuted, and in some way or another, not saying they couldn't go out in the street, but like the government was punishing people.
No, I understand.
Less populated areas. And they really were. It was shocking to me, and it made me happy, honestly.
Well, I've seen, I mean, there are signs that things are changing, right? I mean, obviously that, but I mean, I remember in San Francisco last year with the election when the local DA was ousted and, you know, the school boards have changed a little bit. So, I mean, I think people in San Francisco, for the most part, are genuinely tired of it. But what I say to that is, well, I mean, San Francisco hasn't had a Republican mayor since the 60s. So
Yeah,
you can't blame anybody. You can't blame anybody about any of their social ills and all that stuff that goes on in those cities from, you know, any of the major cities. They're all the same. San Francisco, LA, they're all the same. You know, they all have,
oh yeah, yeah. I
they
mean,
all have the exact same issues.
Houston-
So you can't blame it on any specific, you can't blame it on the other guy because it's been you in charge for decades, literally.
well, yeah. Look at Chicago. They just got rid of Beetlejuice and they bring in an actual communist for Christ's sake.
Chicago's weird because it's like, it's what I always say, Chicago's my favorite American major city because there's so many nice areas to it, right? There's so
Is
much.
there?
Yeah. Oh, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful in the summer. Like I get there's a bad area, right? Like we all see the stuff on the south side and we see some dumb shit that goes on. Like I get that. That does happen. But I think that does happen a lot in just about every major city. Like they all got
Well, yeah, you've
they all
got
got bad
ghetto.
areas, right?
But I got a ghetto in this town of $30,000 or
Yeah.
30,000 people you don't go to if you don't know somebody there.
Yeah. So I mean that stuff's real. But the thing I think because there has to be a shift at some point in the other direction. Like that's human nature. Like the pendulum only goes so far before it starts to swing the other way.
Well, and that's the big concern because each time it swings further and further. I mean,
Oh
where are
yeah,
we
no,
gonna
we're
go?
definitely in a weird time. We're in a weird time, man.
I mean, it's
Weird
yeah.
time.
I mean, I see all my friends are farmers and ranchers. I hang out majorly with people who work the land for a living in one way or another, and they are going so far right. It's kind of fucking scary, dude.
Yeah.
And of course, these
They're
guys
so
are all in.
outnumbered though, man. They're so
Oh
outnumbered.
yeah, yeah, hugely. But you've got
Well,
guys
they're
who are,
outnumbered politically, let's put it that way.
yeah, yeah. I mean, but I dude, I grew up, dude. Out here is Wild West.
No,
It's
I believe
most
it. Like I 100% believe it. I don't think the typical voter in this country in the cities understands the type of people you're talking about one bit.
no, and they
No
don't.
bit.
And these are the type of guys. I mean, they were all pure red blooded Americans, happy to pay their taxes. And you've got guys now trading favors versus putting shit on their books because they don't want to pay. They're sick of their money going to shit they dislike.
Yeah, that's
And
yeah.
and it's snowballing. It's not tiny. It's I mean, these are guys millions of dollars. We're not talking about, you know, some farmer who made $5,000 on a crop. I'm talking about dudes making millions.
Doesn't that draw
And
attention? Isn't that going to get noticed?
nope.
Like with the if there's a drastic like decrease in tax revenue?
Man, I don't know how they get about it. There's a lot of people who are paid a lot of money to go around shit like that. And I'm not going to dime out some people, but
No,
like
I would imagine. I mean, like trying to pay the smallest amount of taxes is nothing new. That's pretty part of the American conspiracy.
but like for instance, formerly you'd hire a guy to come spread manure on your farm,
yeah,
and then you'd sell that guy because you get the manure from the dairy. So you would sell that guy the corn you grew.
okay.
Well, now you're seeing a lot of, hey, come spread manure, I'll give you the corn. And shit, there ain't no books to cover it.
Yeah.
You can't prove anything. All that farmer has to do is say that corn went bad. What are you going to do? Start measuring shit on a dairy? Come on now.
That's the other thing, you know, like, I mean, you know, especially as I've gotten older, like I've got and just experiencing the stuff that I've been fortunate enough to do. And you get such a huge appreciation for what the average person in this country just takes for granted. Like the stuff you're talking about, like dairy farms, just farming in general. You know, I'm looking at a Whole Foods right now. And over here, I'm looking at another supermarket. Like, you know,
yeah,
I get it, but people have no concept of what it takes to get that there. They
really don't.
They just assume it's there because I can walk in and it's there anytime I want. Whatever I need, I can go walk in and get it. And it's nice and chilled. Or
yeah, you got air conditioning when you walk in the door. I mean,
it's people don't, and I, like I said, as I've gotten older, like I have a real respect for that stuff. And I wish in a way, it was something I had the experience of doing. You know, like because I
I'm not
don't know how to
anytime.
do that shit. I'm not going to pretend I do.
And it's a dying breed for sure, and it pays like shit, to be honest. I mean,
Yeah.
the guy who owns a farm makes decent money if it's a good year. But I mean, it's really a dying breed. You've got these massive companies buying up everything in everything. I mean, literally everything is going to large, I mean, big Fortune 500 stock companies. I mean, it's the same. I'm in an oil and gas area. I'm the opposite of Demp. Like Demp is offshore.
Yeah.
I've been on the land side my entire life. But all those companies used to, there was a bunch of, I mean, you look up Mac Chase and a couple other guys. One of the richest people in the world, dude, was the largest. It was either Mac Chase or Marbob or one of those, was the largest privately held oil company in the world until they sold off. And you don't see those anymore. They're just gone.
Yeah. Everything's
I
just major corporations, right?
Yeah, yeah. I
Oil
mean, you've got some wildcatters who go in and get the wells that just aren't worth it for a big company. But for the most part, it's fucking Conoco, Chevron,
Yeah. They've also
EOG.
been around forever. I mean, they did.
Yeah, yeah. And nothing against them. They
Yeah.
pay great. They treat their employees out here amazing. They dump a ton of money into my economy, but it's a different atmosphere than it was 30 years ago. Used to, probably half this crap out here was owned by at least a semi-small corporation where the CEOs or executives were at least within 100 miles of where I was working.
It's interesting you bring that up because I mean, this same thing, like there's a whole documentary on it on Murder Mountain on Netflix about, you know, what happened in California when they legalized marijuana and how those farmers who had just been growing marijuana for, you know, decades now, once it got legal, they can't afford the fees and the taxes to register legally. And all these companies are coming and buying it all up because they can afford to pay it.
Dude, and that's funny. New Mexico just did that shit. And I've got a tenant who's a weed dealer. And I was talking to him about it and asking him how business was. He's like, it fucking sucks. He was like, they bought half the price on the street because I got to mark it up so much because of taxes.
Fucking nuts. That's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I am one person who I will like whatever. It's legal, great. I will never be someone who partakes in it because I just can't stand the way it fucking smells. Like if they're good to genetically engineer something, how about you make it smell good? That's what
I've always loved the smell of weed, but I hate being high, so I won't smoke
it. Not okay. Well, I don't want I just don't want to, and that's what I noticed. Like my day one in Northern California, it's every time you go on the highway, you just smell. It just comes from everywhere, and that's the other thing. Like you and I grew up in a time when this stuff was illegal. You know, like when it was,
and
it's you know, like oh my, you smoke marijuana, you're evil. And now, like you drive through Bay Area and you just or any highway, I-80 throughout Northern California, you got billboards with fucking apps to order the shit, and it's like it's fucking everywhere.
I live in BFE. I mean, this place, 80% of my county voted for Trump, and there are weed billboards all over the damn place. The second you hit the state line from Texas, there's dudes. Yeah. So my tenant, I was working on his property. I was building some shit for him, and there was people driving 2 hours from Texas over here to buy weed from the dude.
That's crazy. So it's still not legal in Texas?
No.
No.
No, Texas has some pretty harsh drug laws. You don't want to fuck around there.
I just say, I mean, of all the ones, that's kind of funny. It's just marijuana. It's like, you know, I just wish it smelled better. I don't care that you do it. I'm not going to do it. I just think it's fucking stupid. Yeah. And like you said, being high, it's just like, it just doesn't interest me. But
I'm paranoid and lazy enough as is. I don't need no damn help.
I'm curious though, what you brought up, these oil companies and how everything's gotten so, you know, it's mostly major corporations. Where are they going with all these fucking government mandates to do the EV shit?
Oh God, dude. So they're complying out the ass, man. You got my cousin's a driller for Conoco, and his project at the current time is literally they've told him to go do a recapture system where he's basically going to take methane, pump it back in the ground, and they've told him he can lose as much money as he needs to because they need the social points for it. Like they're complying with the majors are all complying with this crap. You've got so we flare heavily out here because when you drill for oil, especially out here in the Permian where I'm at, you find oil and natural gas.
Yeah.
Well, for natural gas to run, what you need is you have to have a compressor because you have to compress it down to put it at PSI to where it's worth to move it. It's really expensive to do. It's extremely expensive, and environmental regulations and economical reasonings, they just don't. So they'll flare it off. And natural gas is extremely clean burning. I mean, it's shit. It's by far probably the most clean form of energy we currently have at the time besides nuclear. And they've put in so many restrictions. My brother actually just started a company where he gets paid to fly drums around and look for leaks.
I want to do that. That sounds fun.
Oh yeah, he loves it. It's a great job. But you go around and they're looking for methane, and methane is a bad byproduct, but you can control it and you can get it out in some ways. But they literally, like, used to, you drive around out here and you'd see giant, basically they're called matchsticks or flares, and it's a pipe put in the sky that looks like a lighter lit, basically is what it looks like the long stick lighters.
Yeah.
And it's blowing off all the natural gas that's coming out, and it's, in comparison to what we really do to the environment, it's nothing. And I don't disagree that we should move to cleaner shit eventually, but we're just not there. I mean, hell, I can't own an electric vehicle here unless I have a third car.
Yeah.
I can't take my dad to the doctor in an EV.
That's true. Like, you can't cover the distance. And then if you got to stop, if you have an emergency or whatever, it's just, yeah, it's
Yeah.
But that's what I'm trying to get to, though. Is like, so, I mean, you're saying these companies are compliant, but what's their future if it's not?
Well,
I mean,
you gotta, like, everybody bitches about the price of fuel, but you got to figure out what this costs. I mean, those guys, my cousin's project he was doing was at least $500 million, if not more by now. That was the last time I talked to him, which was like, well, last time I talked to him about it, which was like 6-8 months ago. I mean, he was $500 million in on the project he was overseeing, and he hadn't even broke ground yet. That was just buying leases and rights and property and surveys and all that other dumb shit. I mean, they're going to spend it. They don't have a choice. I mean, the government's forcing everybody into this. You've got the smaller companies who can kind of skirt some of that, but once they become a major player, they've got to comply.
But I still don't know what their future is. Like, that's what I'm trying. Like, if I mean, I feel like, you know, for now they caveat it with all new vehicles from this date on. But so I feel like you're always going to have some sort of, you know,
well, if they go the way they want, simply what's going to happen is you're going to end up like Germany and Europe, to where they're mandating what you can keep your home temperature at, how far you can drive. I mean, you want to get into the nuts and bolts about it. We don't have the electrical infrastructure to run this shit. I mean, I look at California with the rolling blackouts. I mean, and they're shutting down shit. You're just, I mean, something has to give. I don't know what they're going to mandate you cut. I'd imagine, you know, it's why I'll never have anything in my house connected to Wi-Fi, because I don't want them shutting my oven off when I'm halfway through a roast.
But you got a Traeger.
I do. No, and that shit ain't Wi-Fi neither.
No, I thought that's what it was.
No, I got an old school one, man.
Oh, okay.
No, and you have to connect it to Wi-Fi anyway. You buy the shit with Wi-Fi on it, just don't connect it. But like, there's thermostats that are,
all the digital ones, Wi-Fi ones enabled.
I think it was in Europe, but I may be wrong on where they did it. But what they did is they went in, and actually, no, it was in the United States somewhere. I think it might have been California, but I may be wrong on the state. They came in, and the electric company funded putting these thermostats in houses, and then they would go in and change the temperature you had it set to during peak hours. So if you had one of these funded thermostats, you couldn't. I mean, shit, dude, I'm 42 years old. I'm damn near retired. I've earned my money. I want to be comfortable. If I want my house at 68 degrees, I want my house at 68 damn degrees.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't do all this shit and break my body my entire life, so I had to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's the shit I'm dealing with now. So, like, here, I didn't realize. I mean, I had read around, like, it was a DC thing. I didn't know it was a Virginia thing, but it is. So, this building I'm in, because it's, I guess, I don't know if it's the age of it or whatever, but 6 months out of the year, it's on a boiler, or it's on heat, and the other 6 it's on AC, right? So I can't turn the AC on until next month.
No shit.
Yeah. So right now it's actually pretty chill and cool, but like last week, a couple of days, like man, it's like mid 80s, almost 90 degrees. It gets pretty fucking hot. Like I'm going straight up running the fans nonstop in here, but yeah, no AC until the fucking 15th of May. So good
Yeah,
time.
and y'all got that stupid shit called humidity up there.
That's also true. Yeah, I'm getting used to that thing again because I haven't had that for 7 years in California. So
Well, and that's what they're going to do though. Is that's how they have to get it, and how they have to get the use down, because you can't. We just don't make enough electricity to do the vehicles.
plus,
And then
it's like what you're talking about, like they're especially out of COVID, you've seen this massive shift in our economy to people who work from home. So they're already stuck at home. So you're already using internet and Wi-Fi and more power and all this other shit. Like you're putting more of a strain on your system than you were before. So
yeah, it's. I mean, you can't avoid it. You've got to have electricity, and I mean, we've all been accustomed to this new modern life,
yeah.
and I don't see how it's going to be acceptable. Honestly, hopefully, people get pissed off enough to change it, but we'll see. I mean, we see how many lemmings are out there who would literally fall off the end of the earth. But I mean, in oil and gas, that's one of the reasons you're paying so much. So I'll go to a story on this that might kind of, I don't know if it'll resonate or not. So I used to survey in the oil and gas field. And what that was is we get an oil field company, they call me and they'd say, okay, I want to put a pipeline from point A to point B. We've drilled a well. I've got to send natural gas or oil to my main line that's going to run it to the either, a load point or refinery. It was the largest producing natural gas well in Eddy County, New Mexico, up to that point. And it should have been a 500-foot pipeline. And this was 15 years ago, to tell you how downhill it's probably gone since that point. So I go out there, and because it's on public land, so most oil leases in the state of New Mexico are on public land. New Mexico's huge public land. Texas, you get into private land, which is a whole lot easier to deal with. So because of that, we have to have an archaeologist. I have to bring in the BLM. They look for birds and all sorts of dumb shit. And no bullshit. If there's a raptor nest that's 2 years old, nobody's lived there for 2 years, can't put shit there. Because that raptor might come back. He ain't been there in 2 years, but some bitch might come back. I literally argued with a geologist because he claimed that the Indians made the rock they found. Not like broke it up or made an arrowhead.
They made the rock.
Physically made the rock.
Wow, that's impressive. I didn't know they could make rocks.
I'd been to college at this point. I'd taken geology. Never covered in any of those classes.
Oh, I
never
didn't know how to make rocks. I never learned that.
No. Trust me, I'd be making diamonds and making billions if I knew how to. I had to move a pipeline from 500 feet. The total length of the pipeline when I was done was 1.5 miles.
From 500 to 1.5?
Yep. Because after that, they found chipped flint. They found where an Indian had shit. So anything over, and I don't remember the years. This goes back to that whole jack all trades, master of none. But after so many years, any trash found in BFE Egypt out here is now considered an archaeological site. Coke bottles. Moved it for Coke bottles.
Oh, shit.
Some asshole 60, 80 years ago, whenever, threw a Coke bottle out his truck window. That was now an arc site.
You call that usually like litter when you pick it up.
Had he not been there, I'd have probably put it on eBay. But that's
like it sounds like you just need to take a trip in the middle of the night and remove all this stuff. No,
you don't. Do not ever do that. The feds will show up at your door.
Yeah, if you're taking it again, definitely don't take advice from me. So.
No, so I had an old surveyor I worked under. He dug a hole to take a shit in out in the field because I mean, some of these job sites are like 80 miles from a town, or were at the time. It's a lot more populated out here now, but back then it was. I mean, you were in places that probably maybe had never even had a human set foot, and if they had, it'd been 100+ years. He dug a hole to take a Duke. 3 days later, the feds show up at his door because, unbeknownst to him, it was an archaeological site. So he had dug up a bunch of arrowheads and shitting them and didn't know he was just taking a dump and had the feds show up at his door freaking out over it, wanting to know what he stole. He's like, go dig a hole, you'll find some toilet paper.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I should ask, like, hey, what would you like me to do? Like, it's just stupid, man.
Well, of course they're feds, so they didn't do any research. They didn't dig up the
Yeah,
dig first. They went to the door first.
No, that's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, but they'll absolutely rail your ass for that. But yeah, back to your point, we're just gonna keep transcending until we either hit a point or fuck, we're walking everywhere, I guess.
I'm cool with that. I walk everywhere now. That's fine. No.
Well, yeah, and that's great where you live, but
No,
dude,
I know.
I gotta walk 200 miles to
And I would walk 500. Great song.
No.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think what I do think honestly is you talk about the areas that you describe as I don't think a lot of that stuff could be enforced outside of the cities. You know, you go so far, you know, some of the suburbs and stuff like that. But I mean, as someone who's driven, like I like to preface, you know, it's like, you know, people are like, I was a veteran, like
yeah. You got to get that in there.
Yeah, as someone who's driven across the country the last 3 years in the winter from the west, this is a very, very, very big country. And
it's massive.
Yeah, there's I would venture to say that there's not a lot of things that they could enforce on everyone, you know.
Well, no, and they don't.
Especially at the risk of just, you know, you're completely impacting someone's actual lifestyle. It's one thing to be in a city, like I said. It's always that. It's always one thing to be in a city and say, hey, you can't do this, can't go there, whatever. Fine. It's a lot harder for you to enforce that on someone who lives on 100 acres in fucking Omaha or Nebraska. You know, like shit like that, where people are so far away from their political centers.
And that's what I don't think even a lot of Americans understand is how desolate a lot of parts of this country really are. And it was
all of Wyoming.
Yeah, exactly. Most of Mexico, a lot of Texas. I mean, any of the central states, a lot of them are like that. And it's kind of funny. I was sitting with a buddy earlier who I grew up with, and his dad always had a saying, and I'm not going to go into what we did, but we'd ask him, hey, we're going to go do this. And instead of a yes or no, he's like, an illegal is just a sick bird, son. And as long as nobody was getting hurt, nobody gave a shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, you're not like the brace band. Fuck.
I still don't even know what that means. What the fuck does that even mean? What is it? What is it covering?
So I think
I don't know. I don't pretend to know enough about guns to you know, I know what I need to know. That's about it. You know, that's
pretty much there's going to be 4 million felons.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. That was the last estimated number. And again, this is just random shit I read on the internet, but I mean, there's a ton of them. I mean, I was talking to a bunch of people and well over half of them knew nothing about it, but it's basically it was a loophole. And let's be real honest. That's all it was. It was a damn loophole. Instead of SBR and a rifle, you got to make a rifle shorter, which is great because gun laws are fucking stupid. I don't support any of them.
That was my next point we were going to get into, but keep going.
Yeah, no, I don't want anybody going, oh my God, that asshole said it was a loophole. No, asshole, I think you should own nukes.
I agree.
Oh, yeah. If you can afford them, fucking nuke everything. Fuck it, let's have some fun. I want one.
Dude, who is it? I just see that. Someone just said it. Yeah, I just can't remember the tweet. It was just on like I just saw it. Like the whole point of the Second Amendment was to have weapons of war. That's the entire point of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it was Joe. It was Joe Kent. Joe's like, the entire point of the Second Amendment is so can have weapons of war. It's to keep the government back. Like,
God damn, I hope that some bitch with the beautiful flowing locks becomes president one day.
I wish and I want him to grow it back. I just want him to grow it back.
Oh, dude, so jealous. I mean, I look like a hobo with my hair long, so.
Yeah, so my hair is just super thin. So I had long hair up through halfway through my sophomore year in high school. My hair was down here, but it's super thin, so it doesn't look right. I don't have like curly locks like, you know, the Jesus locks like Joe had. I don't have that.
No, I'm unfortunate with the same affliction you are. I got shitty long hair.
All right, so you are. Wait, go ahead. Okay, what was it?
So I grew it out once on a bet for like $100. So I grew it out for 2 years, and my wife made me cut it for my wedding.
2 years, damn. How long did that get?
Yeah. About a little below shoulder blade level. It was rancid, dude. I looked ugly as shit. It was not a good look.
She's still married, you, huh?
Yeah, she's pretty retarded.
Looking like Einstein.
Did you hear? She's out here.
Said you look like Einstein. That's funny.
Yeah, it's my hair does. I need to stick with a military style cut. It's way too long now. I didn't have time to go get a haircut.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I even have hair at this point, I just cut it yesterday, but it was really because of fucking COVID. Couldn't go to the barber. So like my hair was always short up until COVID, and now I have some hair, I guess.
Well, then it's $30 freaking for a haircut. I'm not paying that shit.
Oh, it's like, yeah, it's like 45 out here, man. It's fucking ridiculous.
Is it really? God.
And then
Now-
I always tip like at least, well, now I got to tip like fucking $15. So it's just, it's expensive.
Yeah. I mean, I used to get 2 haircuts a week. I loved it.
Oh, I
Get me
can't
your
do
hair.
that. No.
Oh,
Absolutely.
dude.
It's way too. No, I'm like once a month. I'm good.
Well, it's like 110 degrees out here in the summer, so you keep it pretty short in the summer months.
Yeah.
But I just buzz it. Now, who gives a shit if I look like a homeless person? I'm married. I ain't got to impress nobody.
Wife in the back. Do you agree with that?
He looks stinking hot with his head shaved.
Okay, there you go. All right, so you've got one endorsement. I guess you're good to go.
The only one that matters.
The only one that matters. There we go. Like it. All right. No, so yeah, I did want to get that in there because I know it's part of the profile. But so the Second Amendment, absolutionist, right? So what does that mean to you?
Basically, I believe the Second Amendment was written so that if I wanted to go to war with the government, I could do so. If I could fund it, I could do it. And that means I can own anything the United States government can own. And it's very simple to me that if a tyrannical government takes power, the people should have the right and be capable of overthrowing it if necessary. And I'm not saying I'm an insurrectionist. I'm not saying overthrow the government, none of that shit, but the options should be available. And I mean, sure, you can argue the merits of Afghanistan, Iraq, and, Vietnam on whether we could storm out a war with the United States government. But I believe I ought, if I have the funds to do so,
that's political.
I ought to be able to walk in and overrun the fucking government tomorrow if I have the funds and the equipment available, and that the founders intended for me to be capable of doing that if I so wanted to. Again, I'm not saying I'm going to. Shit, I only have the money to buy one tank, nevertheless a bunch. But that was their intent. I mean, hell, they own freaking warships, for Christ's sake.
That's true.
I mean, how can you argue that that wasn't their intent when they were literally hiring privateers to go help them fight their war? And they wrote it around that. That's the reason they did it. And they documented in the Federalist Papers, other papers. They tell you, we want you. I mean, I can't remember who it was. One of them said every generation or so. I mean, a lot quicker than where we're at now. There should be bloodshed from the government. I mean, they really believed, a few of them really believed that we were going to go overthrow the government every 60 years or so.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about the time when that was going on, like it makes a lot more sense back then, right? Now you got into an area of comfort, and I don't think people are willing.
No.
You know what I mean? Like they're not willing.
No, they're not. I mean, look at the pussification of everything going on around you. I mean, we were talking about AC and electricity earlier. People aren't gonna. I mean, if it gets real, it's not gonna be voluntary. People are going to be forced into that situation because nobody's willingly going to go back to that shit.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's more. I think the biggest thing we have to deal with now is cultural. I think that's our biggest struggle. Is how much how much are we going to accept culturally? I think.
Well, yeah, you're seeing
that shift has happened very quickly over the last few years. It's like, look, I think Trump brought upon all this shit. Like people sit there and they still throw out Trump like he's, like I said this last night, like, some people may owe Trump loyalty, but it doesn't mean it's probably not you, right? Like, but all this stuff, if you really think this all was exacerbated because of him, because of his presidency.
Okay.
I mean, he did a lot of great things. I will preface that with Trump did a lot of great things as president. However, all the other shit that's kind of come because of it Yeah, you have to own that shit too.
Well, and see, I'm of the mindset the motherfucker didn't do anything. Everything he did was a piece of paper that Biden overturned. I mean, it was funny. The guy's the funniest son of a bitch who's ever been president of the United States. I mean, he's freaking hilarious. But what did he really do? He didn't do much. He banned bump stocks.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. He's definitely not a Second Amendment absolutionist.
Well,
The
no,
Supreme
and,
Court
you know,
justices, someone brought up. All right, I'll give him the Supreme Court justices. Great,
yeah,
got it.
yeah, that he did, and
um,
that I thank him for. But shit, he cost me millions, dude. He can go fuck
Yeah.
off.
Yeah,
I have no loyalty to anybody but
right,
my wife.
no
and my
one should.
kids.
Yeah, I was gonna say you shouldn't.
No.
You shouldn't.
No,
Was this
they're my
COVID related?
Yes. Yeah. So I text you about the dollar amount we can't talk about, but
Yeah.
so I had an oilfield services company, and I posted this last night, 2 weeks before he shut down flights and all that shit. I called my wife and I told her, you know, I sunk my life savings in this company. I busted my ass. I bought trucks. I bought equipment. I didn't finance anything because I wanted to be financially responsible. And I lied. I did finance some of the equipment. I paid it off. I just paid it off, and I called my wife and said, I've got 30 pieces of equipment out. We're going to be billing about $250,000 a month. The first time the company was actually going to be really profitable to where we could take home anything. I was like, we're going to start taking paychecks about 20 grand a month. 2 weeks to the day from that phone call, he shut down flights, killed the price of oil. And it's nothing like I've ever seen before. I've been in the oil and gas industry off and on my entire life, and I'm in my 40s. And it's crashed and people got run off and whatnot, but this was nothing like it. Like, there was billion-dollar job sites I was on to where they left pipe out. You never do that because it rusts. I mean, and you've got to come in, you've got to tear it out. You can't restart. Normally they'll cap it. They'll do other stuff, so at least it's somewhat salvageable. They're going to take a loss on it, but they can come back and restart if they want to. It was like we walked out one day and like, everybody go home, bye. And I've never, ever seen anything like that. Motherfuckers have been shot on these job sites and never nothing like this. Fucking damn near bankrupted me. I went from telling my wife in 2 weeks, we're going to start taking a real paycheck. Everything we've done is fixing to pay off, to, honey, I got to start selling shit to make ends meet. And I'll never forgive him for that. Never.
What could have been done differently, you think?
Man, and I try not to hold a huge grudge on it because there was a lot of unknowns, and I'll give him that.
Yeah.
And I got to think about that. But shutting down the economy, not firing Fauci, you know, and I agreed with shutting down flights from China. Fuck, that's where it was coming from. Why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah, I watched all that. Fucking the camps they set up on Travis Air Force Base. Like,
yeah. You shit. There was ones in El Paso, which was 4 hours from here.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, I get, you know, when it first came out, you're seeing the videos from China where everybody's dropping dead in the streets, which of course were staged, and we find that out later.
Yeah.
So yeah, you've got to get drastic. But at what point is hurting the American citizens? And in all honesty, anybody whose business was fucking hurt should be able to sue the U.S. government for the amount that they can prove they could have made, because he shut down a shit ton of businesses, and the governors did too. I mean, and it's not all on him. I had a shitty governor. I mean, but of course she's a Democrat, and I'll never vote for her. So what's my recourse with her?
Yeah.
I mean, but you know, there should be recourse to where, fuck, I don't know.
So, because I'm trying to go back in time in my head the best I can after the.
Well, yeah, we are drinking.
What was it? The term that they came up with? Essential business. Wasn't that what it was? Yeah. So fuel essentially for the American people that you were providing, right? That's essentially what you're doing, right? Oil, gas, eventually it turns into fuel and energy, right? So that was never deemed essential.
No, it was. But what had happened was when they infected all the travel bans, shut down the economy, it killed the cost of fuel.
Right. Okay. Got it. Yeah.
I don't know if you remember when oil went negative, but it was shortly after that. And it's the first, and it will be the only fucking time Cushing goes negative. Like, they were paying people $43 a barrel to take freaking oil. They were paying people to take oil. And so how that works is oil trades on futures.
Right.
I don't know if you or your followers are familiar with it, but basically buying contract. So all these majors, the oil they're getting out of the ground, if they're not their own wells, they've purchased it well in advance, 90, 60, 30 days, depending on the contract, all that fun stuff. And Javier Goy is far.
Yeah. I had him on years ago. It's probably time to get him back on.
Yeah, it is. That guy's so smart with this. But so because the demand of oil had dropped so low, these contracts. So when you buy one of these contracts, and you can even get online and do it. Don't ever.
I'm not. No.
But you can. And it's retarded to do because unless you know what you're doing, you'll lose your ass. Or,
Yeah.
I mean, you can make millions, but you could also lose millions you don't have. But basically, they bought this 60, 90, 30 days ago. And then the demand of oil dropped so freaking much that nobody would take it. You had to go to Cushing, Oklahoma, which if you look at the price of oil, which I do frequently because I'm in oil and gas, there's several different, but you go by the Cushing. Cushing is where the fuel produced here goes to. It goes in barrels of oil. It's mainly pipelines go in there. There's a yard where trucks, semis, trains, whatever comes in, mainly trains actually comes, picks it up. You have to have transportation to pick it up. Well, when nobody's buying oil, there was such a surplus that it went negative, and everybody's like trying to sell their contracts because they didn't want to pay for the transportation.
Right.
And then they went in, and it kept tanking and tanking and tanking, and the psychological effect went into it, and it kept tanking, and it ended up negative. Like literally, people, you couldn't give away oil for free. One of the highest priced commodities we own was people were being paid to take it.
It was worthless.
Yeah, it was less than worthless. You had to pay for people to take it.
How long did that last?
Just a day. So it was a day that a lot of contracts came out on. And so it just kind of snowballed. It's a perfect storm. I mean, like I said, I doubt you'll ever see this again. And of course, I'm not, like I said, Javier Goy is much better at all this shit than I am, but I've done this a long time, and I kind of play in it as a hobby, not as a professional.
Yeah.
And it's never done anything like that. I mean, even in the massive crashes we've had before, then oil's never come close to negative.
How long or
it was just hours.
I'm trying to figure out the way to phrase it. How long can you hold on to a barrel of oil before you have to do something with it? Like, how long is it good for?
Infinite. I mean, I think it's just been under, depending on what theory you believe it's from dinosaur or geological, whatever, but it's been beneath the Earth's crust for millions of years.
Okay. So
I mean, once you refine it and you add chemicals, that's when you start seeing degradation in the product.
So would it made sense to hold on to some of this stuff rather than trying to just get rid of it if there was no demand?
Yeah, absolutely. But the problem was these people bought it 90 days before, and they didn't have transportation to get it.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. So if they wanted to, they just don't have anywhere they'd have no way to get it. Gotcha.
Yeah, or their tanks were full and they had nowhere to put it.
Yeah.
And so it went to the point where they were paying people to come take it. So, and here's the kicker: what most people understand is, so they probably paid about $60 a barrel for this shit, and then they had to pay $40 a barrel for them to take it. So they had $100 a barrel, and so I think railroad tankers either run 50 or 80,000 barrels. I don't remember. It's a lot.
Yeah,
they take a lot, and these people are buying in that amount. It's not, a swimming pool full, dude. It's lakes and lakes of oil.
Jesus. That's crazy.
And so a barrel's 44 gallons.
Yep.
Which comes from the old welling stuff. And that's what they were trying to get rid of. And it went upside down. And hell, there's a good story and even I think there's, if I remember correctly, there's a documentary about it if you're interested or anybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can Google when oil went negative, and there's a documentary, some British guys. Oh my God, they made millions.
Because it's always a market of opportunity, right?
And it is. And so China came in and they fought with China on it. China was trying to run the opposite. And these guys kept shorting it and sending it lower and lower and lower. And they ended up costing China billions. They almost crashed China,
Hey,
which is awesome.
yeah, I wish they would have.
Yeah. I'm just mad they didn't get better.
Next time, right?
Absolutely. But yeah, anybody who's ever worked in oil and gas remembers that day. I mean, like the day, I remember my parents growing up, all of them remembered the day JFK got shot.
Yeah.
You and I growing up, you remember the
9/11,
challenge.
yeah.
9/11,
9/11, yeah, all that shit.
Anybody who worked in the oil and gas, that's just as big.
That's crazy.
I mean,
I
it's
don't think a lot of
unheard of.
people. Because I mean, I don't think a lot of people know that.
No, and it
I
was
mean, especially when you go back to the COVID fucking news media, it was all controlled bullshit anyway.
Well, yeah, and there was a lot going on at the time. I mean, and
Yeah.
if you're not in oil and gas, I'll be real honest. Shit, I wouldn't have cared about it if I was Bob, who was off trading bank stocks that weren't bought oil and gas, or if I was a cashier or whatever else. I just happened to be in oil and gas, and it was, I mean, dude. So I run 2 circles on Twitter. I do, our side, and then another one I heavily follow is the oil and gas side.
Yeah.
And it was a shit show. I mean, shit, people's livelihoods were lost that day.
Yeah.
Millions and billions lost. Companies bankrupt. People, I mean, it's just nuts.
Is she talking to us?
Sorry, I said no traffic. You can tell.
Yeah, there was nobody on the road out here.
Oh yeah, no, that was the best part. I think I've already told this story. I think I might have told it on the Goon Zoom. Was just like when we were going through that.
Yeah, you used to roll through San Francisco by yourself.
Nobody on the road. It was the greatest. Like an hour drive with traffic turned into 25 minutes with nobody on the roads. I could stop on the fucking the Bay Bridge, just stop and get out, and just stand there and feel the wind on the middle of a bridge.
And that's a gorgeous view.
It was like being on like the only person alive is what it felt like, which was really fucking creepy once you got into the city. But in that moment, like, looking out over the bay as the sun's going down, you see the Bay Bridge off like.
Oh, I bet that was gorgeous.
I'll never forget that experience. But you're right. Like there was no traffic literally on the roads. It was amazing.
Well, and see, so, the difference is between your living and my living.
Yeah.
Is out here. That's an indicator of, oh shit.
Yeah.
That's not a good thing. I mean, here, I know in a lot of places it is, but here it's, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck.
And hotels.
And hotels were empty. Hotels that went, I mean, and these are Best Westerns.
Shelters, man. Yeah.
Oh yeah, these were Best Westerns that were going for $500 a night 6 months before.
That's nuts.
Oh, it's insane. Like when oil's booming, dude, you're going to San Francisco prices out here. I got a single wide mobile home I rent for $2,500 a month.
What?
When oil's booming. Yes. I paid $8,000 for the damn thing. I paid another $8,000 to get it moved there. It pays for itself every year.
Yeah.
But when oil tanks, I'm lucky to get $600.
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking at $2,000 swing on a single wide, dude. It's a fucking single wide. And I feel terrible every time I take someone's check for it, but then I don't.
No, you shouldn't, because they got it, right? So you shouldn't.
Yeah, and then some asshole dicks me out of $20,000 fucking up my property, and I don't care anymore.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I still feel like there's a lot. I mean, we're still feeling the effects of that, really. I don't know how much you are. I mean, you probably have a totally different experience, but when you talk about like people and myself, like you see the cities, a lot of like the service industry, that stuff's not coming back. Like people don't want to go back to work.
No, they don't. And the quality of service is one thing that's taken
awful. It's awful. I can speak that personally is just Napa. Like it hasn't come back. Like you went to Napa's an experience. I don't know if you've ever been there. Right.
I have not.
Okay, it's good. Yeah, Orange County girl, she's been, but I mean, she knows what I'm talking about. Like you expect literally the best of the best, and you were getting that. And now those places that have come back, a lot of them have either drastically dropped off in sales because they don't have the support. They don't have the actual the workers to support it. The ones that they do have don't or weren't a part of the original, workforce that actually maintained and knew those standards. So you've had such a drop off in service that it's not special anymore. It doesn't feel like you're going there for the experience. you're kind of going for a name that's still in place, but the people that are supposed to be carrying that on and delivering that service, they don't have the ability to do so.
Well, and they're still charging 30%.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Don't get me wrong. Like, it didn't get cheaper. You know, it's still $50 a tasting. Like, it didn't get cheaper.
Yeah. I mean,
and there are some places. Don't get me wrong. That's not everyone. I'm not saying that. There are some that manage to take care of their employees. Yeah, but a lot of these people, they're getting paid more to not go to work.
Well, it's almost like sending people checks for not doing nothing might have been a mistake.
Yeah.
I mean, just saying. But I mean, that's what they did.
Whose idea that was?
I can think of one guy whose name was a T who started it, which is also another bitch I got.
Yeah, that's crazy. And then that's funny to see like all the fraud that came out of that. It's like, oh my, it just cracks me up, man. And
I mean, you go back that old Johnny Carson, Swami says, "Come on now, you really didn't think it was going to happen? Come on,
it's just,
people in prison making fucking millions, dude."
That's just fucking weird, man. It's just, but then there's my question throughout all that is like, where is this even coming from? Just sending out fucking checks with some numbers on it. Like,
but Eric, we can just print all the money we need. We don't ever have to take money from people. We'll just print more.
I remember thinking that as like a little kid in like 5th grade. It's like, why can't I just print money? And then you realize,
I tried that.
It's like, it's just some of the that is wild to me. Like some of the, you know what? The other thing, like we've seen this in our lifetime. Like we grew up in the era where we still actually had a balanced budget with no deficit.
Yeah.
No debt.
Yeah.
Like Clinton did it. Of all people, Clinton did it. And this is what I love about
that man, but he did a lot of good stuff.
This is what I love about our side of the political spectrum. It's like we love the champion, like the small government and all this shit. Dude, everything in my lifetime that has come from either a exploded debt, a growth in government, any of that stuff, an intrusion on your freedoms, it's all come from fucking Republicans. Every one of it.
Yeah.
The national debt, the Homeland Security, the fucking Patriot Act. Anything.
Yeah, G-Dub, Jesus Christ.
Like everything that we try to like say is a part of the plank of the fucking Republican platform, it's actually not. It's like the exact opposite. It's all come from that.
They do all the shit the Democrats say they want to do.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I mean, they really do when you look at it. It's Jesus. It's fucking embarrassing, to be honest.
I think what's embarrassing is that we still are operating under the War Powers Act of fucking 2001. That's me.
I don't disagree. You give a government power, they never give it back.
That's right. It never. But that's what I think. It might have been Limbaugh that always said is like, when have you ever heard of the government getting smaller?
Yeah, no.
It doesn't. Once it's there, it's there. Like the Department of Homeland Security, the TSA, all that shit. It's there forever. You and I as well. We've grown up in the era where I've told this story to my daughter who's 17. She doesn't get it. It's like when I came home from my freshman year of college in '99 for the first time. I think it was for Thanksgiving or Christmas, whatever it was. My friends were literally at the gate as I walked off the airplane, fucking hammered with beers in their hands to give me as I'm coming off the plane.
Yeah.
And now,
flying
you need to be at the airport 2.5 hours before your flight because we need to make sure your baggage gets on your fucking plane. Like, give me a fucking break. Like the airport.
And they'll threaten to turn the plane around because you partied a little too hard.
Yeah, and that's never going. It's never going to be that way. It's not, and it doesn't have to. Like, you go around the rest of this planet and see how other countries do. Airport security. Middle East is a perfect example. You don't have this shit. You have targeted security. That's it. Not here where you're made to feel like the fucking TSA is some. Every time I go through these people, I just look at them with such disgust. I really do.
Because I lean into it.
There's no qualification to sit there. They're not some like elite mental force. They're not an elite physical force. They're just literally people who filled out a fucking application and got hired. They're nothing. They're no better than a Walmart greeter. They're the Walmart greeter of the fucking
with government benefits.
Exactly. Yes, and pay.
Oh, yeah. Just my tax dollars is paying one and not the other.
I finally got on a rant. It's about time.
Good. Let it go. And you think about it, it's never going to go away. You can't.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not going.
Are you going to be
never
the
going
president who fired half the fucking country?
away. I would love to be.
I would too, but
Fuck it.
I wouldn't be reelected.
That's fine. You don't need to be. You just got to do something. That's what I'm tired of people trying to get reelected. Just go there and do what you said you were going to do and said, let the fucking ships lay where they are. Find out
Dude,
what.
I've
Fuck
got
around and find out.
3 qualifications before I'll vote for you. You can't be old. You can't be fucking fat.
Yes.
And I will not vote for you more than twice.
I
Period.
think I
Don't
do.
give it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, you can't.
No, if I vote for you twice for Senate, I won't vote for you for president. I don't give a shit. You've been in the government long enough. Bye.
That's true. No, that's good. I like. Well, and that's. I don't
I
understand
mean, if you're a
how we.
local dog catcher, yeah, I'll vote for you again.
Yeah, sheriff's good. I just can't understand how we managed to put term limits on the president, but nobody else. All because
Well,
they didn't
it-
like Roosevelt. You know, I get it, but it's like, come on, we didn't extend this to the fucking senators and the congressmen.
And that's the dumbest shit in the world because that's something both the left and the right agree on.
Right.
But you'll never see any politician push it because that's their fucking livelihood.
Yeah, it's kind of it's like term limits is such a slam dunk. Like you know, the federal holiday for voting is a fucking slam dunk. Make it a 3-day fucking make it a 4-day weekend so we can party it up and celebrate.
I don't
the
even
Christmas on
agree with
Tuesday
that.
night.
If you're too lazy to fucking vote, I don't want you fucking voting.
No, I want everyone to vote, but I want us to all
I
have
don't.
no excuses for you not being able to. I'm just here to eliminate the excuses.
I agree with the limiting excuses, but I'm also one of the people who think landowners should only vote or veterans. I mean, they're
Look, I'm with you. I'm so tired of the like.
I'm
we need to
sick
make
of
sure
people
everyone
voting
votes.
for
Do
their
we
own
really
fucking
need to make?
boss.
Yeah. Do we really need to make sure everyone votes? Some people don't need to.
yeah. I mean, let's be honest.
Just like we don't
Half
need a
these
fucking
people don't need to
90-year-old
be
as president.
fucking public. I mean, go to Walmart and tell me, really, all them fucking people at Walmart should be voting? Come on now. All you got to
They
do is go
probably
to
should,
Walmart.
so they
one
can
day.
preserve their ability to be Walmart people. Because
Well, yeah, that's why they're voting. That's the only reason they're voting.
Yeah.
My camera's doing some dumb shit. I don't know how to shut that off. If you do, I will.
No, I don't know. It seems like your camera is just trying. I think it picks up noise. Like, is your wife talking more? Maybe that's why it's trying to follow her.
He's a woman.
I was telling him to shush.
Oh, wait! I need him to not shush. I need him to talk. Yeah, but that's good. No,
It's kind of the whole point of this, honey.
yeah. There will be bourbon and discussion.
Yeah, maybe we just make a law where you have to go to Walmart before you vote.
Man, I don't. You know, I'm kind
And
of.
see if you really want to continue this.
I found like okay, there's only 2, and I don't know about the second one because I haven't been to the first one. I definitely don't know because I haven't been there since 2008. No, that was 2009, summer of 2009. There's a Walmart outside of Fort Lewis in Washington. I remember it was like probably 20 minutes from there. So we were out.
I've been there.
The nicest fucking Walmart you've ever seen? Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes. Not the nicest. That was in Tyler, Texas, but it's a close second.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just remember walking in there like because I came from Central Florida, man. Like you go to the wrong Walmart in Orlando at midnight.
Yeah, you get stabbed.
Oh God, it's just like it's just third world is what it looks like.
Yeah.
I remember walking in there expecting the worst, and I go in there, I'm like, oh my God, like this is a Walmart? This is beautiful.
Yeah,
It was like
no
Costco.
line.
It was like Costco. It's what
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah, there's actually people working the counters. It's weird.
Yeah. And not everyone was morbidly obese.
No, normal people. There was normal people in
Normal people, right? Not the people of Walmart. The actual, these were.
there. Yeah. That website would be closed down if they were limited.
Exactly. And then the second one was up in Roseville, California, when I first got there. And I don't know what it looks like now because they've had such an influx in population. Who knows? It could be different. But yeah, so I'm just all in favor of not really having Walmarts in general. I'm just over it.
I'd be all right with nuking Walmart.
Yeah, like I mean, I get it. You know, they need to be in areas. You know, my parents live in an area part of Tennessee is like pretty much the closest thing to them from 20 minutes away. But you know, we just need to do better.
Yeah, let's be real honest. If you're shopping at Walmart, you got some fucking issues.
Yeah, or you're forced to. Yeah, so you know.
I mean, you got Amazon, dude. Come on now. You
don't
know,
always
barring
have it.
your-
But that's another thing that came. Do you remember when this? I don't know how it was there, but Dude, I remember when the shutdown happened and just like the run on toilet paper, and people were going to Amazon to wait for 3 weeks for some shitty ass stuff to come in from China. It was crazy.
So one of the companies I had, the one that got shut down, was a porta potty company.
Oh,
I
nice.
leased out porta potties
Yeah.
and what are called trash trailers. They have 2 porta potties on the front, and then a giant like caged in bin for the locations, oil field locations, throw the trash in. So I had, I think it was 3,700 rolls of toilet paper, something like that.
Damn,
When
you were
dude.
rich.
oh no, you couldn't sell it anywhere. They banned you selling it because I
Oh,
was
did they
gonna.
really?
Yeah, you couldn't sell it on Amazon. You couldn't sell it on eBay. But I had all my neighbors calling me
I'm
asking.
gonna say I'd have set a fucking table up outside the house. Fuck it, come by.
Well,
Curtis's
man,
rolls.
I'm not going to charge my neighbors
That's true.
and my friends, but I probably gave away 2,000 rolls of toilet paper because nobody could find any.
know,
I mean,
that
it was
nuts.
gone.
That was insane. That was
Oh,
insane.
it was. And like I said, I just had them for business reasons. I really wasn't trying to stock up.
Yeah,
I
no,
saw-
I get that. Plus, you guys have the worst toilet paper anyway in a porta john.
Oh, this was Charmin, dude.
What?
How do you think I grew my business so fast?
Dude, the worst. I'll tell you. Here's a story about the worst toilet paper in the world. All right, I'm gonna tell it to you. When you were in the Air Force, did you deploy at all?
Yeah, I did Iraq and Afghanistan.
Okay, so you went to Iraq. Did you go to what year were you in Iraq?
04.
Okay, so you know then the toilet paper that those fucking Iraqi contractors used to put in the porta johns, it was like
fucking terrible.
It was 4 rolls that were about as thick as a ream on those, remember those old fucking calculators?
Yes.
They would put 4 of those in the morning.
And it had no texture.
Yeah, it had no texture. They put 4 of them in the morning for 10,000 people trafficking through this area through a day on base. It's gone by within an hour. And I just remember sitting there thinking this is not toilet paper.
Yeah, and then there's 2 water bottles sitting back on the fucking shit.
That's your backup, yeah. Some nice warm water to squirt on your ass. It was a good time.
Yes.
And I went through so many brown t-shirts over there. Just
oh yeah. Yeah,
cut
a little bit off the sock maybe every now and again.
Yeah, I just man, the worst experience. Here we go. Now we're getting into good stories time. This is a good story time. All right. So I remember this.
I'm in my house trying to find it. I've got the Universal. I'll send you one. I know I've got them somewhere. I've got the Universal Kiefer shit tickets on porta potties. All the locks are the same.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's funny.
I'm too lazy to go find the rest of them. I've got 60 of them because every one came with one. But yeah, I'll send you one of the locks. So if you're ever in BFN, you gotta take some shit tickets out.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
It's handy sometimes.
So when I was on, in 03 in Iraq, I was on BIAP at Baghdad Airport. All right, and when we
were you there?
What's that?
When were you there? What months?
April 03 until March of 04.
I was likely one of the last faces you saw leaving country.
You were at Camp Cedar 2 down there in that area?
No, I was at buyout, but I was the dude who loaded you on the airplane.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I remember we had those random transition points. And that's some really shitty stories about the convoy out. We got fucked up on the convoy out. But anyway, that's no fun. Let's talk about the toilet paper.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, where I lived, so we were on buyout where we were at. We were man, I'm trying to think of where this was in relation. So if you were in the center where the Burger King was, the post office, and
we were south of that.
Okay. So we were probably a quarter-mile walk to where the PX and the Burger King was. Because we lived we're out, right. But anyway, you had to walk about a mile to get to the gym. And so you'd walk through all that area. And as you pass through that area, you'd come to porta potties. A whole gang of them. It was great. There's probably 15. But I remember I went to the gym and I'm wearing my army PTs, right? And I was wearing the winter set because it was fucking cold. So it must have been the winter time.
Yeah, it gets a lot colder than you think it would.
Oh, the fucking desert. They're 2 months. They're pretty cold, right? So
yeah, it's not long, but it's
So for whatever reason, I think I had Burger King that night before I went to the gym, and then I'm there at the gym and I'm drinking all these stupid supplements. And as I'm walking home, like I'm like, oh shit, I got fucked. Like this is bad. So I like ran to the porta john, and you know when you run, you release tension on your stomach muscles, right?
Yeah, your clinching isn't
Dude,
as
like
nice as it could
the
be.
happiest sight was coming around the corner and seeing the porta johns and knowing that I'm going to make it. And then as I get in, right,
You're
like
not gonna make fun.
yeah, knowing I'm going to make it, like this is fine. I get in there, do
You ain't gotta
whatever.
do the
then
doo-doo shuffle back to the base.
there's no toilet paper. There's no toilet paper. There's no water. There's nothing. So I had to do, and again, like this is still like I still got, I got to walk, like, and this is bad.
Yeah, it
Like,
was
this
full of
wasn't
that.
just like a normal, like this is bad.
Yeah,
So
nothing's next to each other.
yeah, so I took my PT jacket off and I took my PT shirt off, and my PT shirt became what needed it to become, and then I zipped my jacket up as far as I fucking could. And I walked my now happy ass back to the barracks, and immediately went to the shower. So-
Yeah, go clean that shit up. Oh, dude, they were.
It's bad, man.
I still won't shit in a porta shitter to this day. After that, like I said, I had them. I owned them, and mine were. I made sure they were clean because, well, I had the same experience as you did with those nasty sons of bitch. And now just go shit in the bushes over here. Fuck it.
Yeah, I mean, and then like, man, you used to see like, or I think there was one time I actually walked by it happening where, because there's always soldiers doing soldier shit,
Oh, yeah.
Someone's in there and they just push it over and take off running. It's
Oh, dude, my favorite was so we had a really shitty chow hall, and you had to go to Anaconda, and I can't remember the other name of the base if you wanted decent food. And a lot of times we didn't have time, so we had a lot of MREs. And of course, those back you up.
oh, yeah.
My buddy had shit like a week. Dude, he took a whole package of freaking X-Lax on his day
Why would you
off.
do that? Oh man.
He never read the instructions. He was like, "Well, I've got a contractor style ship bit up. I guess I better take this whole box." The whole day I was running him water and toilet paper.
God, that's just awful, dude. Like, I can only imagine what that must have felt like. And that the other thing about that is like I think you go back. Well, plus you got to all remember, what were we, 22 years old in that moment? Like, you just do dumb shit anyway. But
Yeah, you're pretty retarded at 20.
there's no big picture account of it. It's just like you just live in the moment. You don't really worry about the next day because you hope you make it there anyway. But it's just
Yeah, that's a great idea. Oh no, it was not.
dumb shit, man. Just absolutely dumb shit. I miss that. I really do. And like that, what's funny is so I just went back up to New York where I played baseball for a few years before I joined the Army. And I'm sitting there. As soon as I step up to the field and I'm watching or whatever, and I start feeling the wind, and I just remember like, man, the last time I was on that field was 22 years ago. Felt literally like I had just been there. And I immediately remembered why I didn't like it so much, because it's so fucking windy. And that's the first thing that hit me is like, I'm up there, I'm standing, I'm like, it's so windy. I'm like, oh shit. This is what I remember, like being so fucking.
Is that the pic you posted the other day?
Yeah. Yeah. And I just remember like, and you probably feel the same, like, dude, if we flew over to Biap right now, you could walk around and reimagine how everything was there. And it would probably feel like literally yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, that's how vivid all that shit is to me still. Like it did. I literally felt like I was supposed to be out on the field. Like I felt, oh shit, am I supposed to even be here? Oh shit, late for something. And I know for a fact, if we walked the Biap airport, I could look and pinpoint everything and think like, man, that's where those shitters were. They were right there. That's where this happened. That's where the fucking gym was. Like, this is the bombed out building we lived in. Like, all that stuff is still so vivid in my
Or
mind.
the palaces. The palaces
Like
were really cool.
Yeah. It's
or
like
the planes with holes all throughout them.
You know what really blew my mind though was like looking out at those dudes playing and thinking every single one of those dudes was not alive when I was here. That's because I'm the same age as you, man. You said you're 42. Like I'm the same age. Like so, I look
I'm 43. Yeah,
that's what's wild to me, man. It's just like I remember
it's like yesterday.
We're farther from that moment and 9/11 than we were from the 70s from 9/11. If you think back, if you start backing it up from like, you know what I mean? Like that's what's nuts. That's what's nuts.
It makes you feel older than shit.
It doesn't. It doesn't make me feel old at all. Like, I don't feel that way. I don't feel old I don't feel that way. Like, I refuse to accept that feeling. I'll never be one of those people that just, oh, I'm fucking, no, I'm not. I'm just, I'm alive. I'm here. I'm good. I'm
Oh,
not grateful
no.
for it.
But it's just it's wild to try to process it.
Because you
That-
see everything every day now. I think maybe that's why. It's like we don't get the weekly
Yeah.
news. We don't get a newspaper it's like everything you see every single day. So you're constantly living in it. So you don't really
Yeah,
feel
the
like
news
time's
isn't
passed.
30-minute segments like it used to be. It's
Yeah.
everybody has the news on all damn day long. And the news is pivoted from where, you know, even on the 30-minute segments when we grew up, you know, they cover whatever was going on with the United States and a bombing in, you know, Scotland, and then they pivot to whatever journalist had found some asshole who was siphoning money off of whatever. And it was just a different cycle of news. It wasn't all the doom and gloom you get nowadays. And I think that plays a huge part in where we're headed and how we're fucking getting there, honestly. I mean, it's just, I wish somebody did the news like they used to where I could find out what was going on across the world. And then somebody would go bust Burger King for charging people 10 cents more.
Honestly, man, like, I hate to say it, but the European countries do news way better. Fucking France 24, like BBC, a lot of those, you watch that, you get actual fucking news.
Really?
And then some of them, like, it's not the Daily Mail, it's another one from the UK. The ones that actually cover the United States, they do a better job than we do. Because they're doing what you're saying. They're doing what you're saying. They're not doing the sensationalized bullshit. They're just
Yeah.
So like, so when all of like this Ukraine shit kicked off last year, I was just like, all right, I don't want to get this version of it. Let me see what's actually going on, right? So it was like France 24, it was BBC America, it was it was even fucking Al Jazeera to an extent. Like, you see the way they cover the stuff, and they're just literally presenting what's going on because there's
just no commentary.
Yeah, I love that shit. I'm like you. I just show me what the fuck's going on. Let me make up my own mind, and that's it. Because that's how it's supposed to be. That's why people who freak out over this Fox News and Tucker Carlson and Don Lemon on CNN, it's like, oh, you lost your favorite entertainer. Like, these aren't
that's all they
it's
are.
not
They're
news,
not
man.
journalists.
It's there to appeal to your already preconceived notions of what you want to fucking hear, and they're just good at it. You know why they're good at it? Because they're fucking entertainers.
Exactly. If they give you an opinion, they're an entertainer. If they give you facts with no opinion, they're a journalist.
Exactly.
And it's that simple. And I want journalists. I want to look at it and decide for myself how I feel.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. I like being entertained too. I like listening to a
Yeah.
Carlson rant. You know, I think it's fun. It's funny, but I know what it is.
Yeah.
What I'm looking at. I know what I'm looking at.
Yeah. I want to decide for myself without politicized commentary.
And that's rare at everything. Like I'm with you. I think we need to find a way back to that at some point. And I don't know how, but
yeah, I don't think there's enough money in it, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you kind of hope Twitter becomes again, right? Like, you hope it somehow gets back to the point. And people were making. I stayed in Syracuse over the weekend, so Sunday morning when I got up, because sometimes I like to see the guests, right? So I threw on Bill Maher, and he had these two guys on. They're both from academia, but they made a good point. It's like, look, we stopped trying to reach a mass and get with like a mainstream publication or news agency. So we just took everything to Substack. If you want to read us, fine. If you don't have to. And I guess the argument was like, Substack could end that tomorrow, which I guess that's true, or someone could buy them out and end that. But that is a good point, because so many journalists have taken their stuff to Substack, and it's just them.
Well, yeah, and it's the same with Joe Rogan with Spotify. I mean, basically, his contract is I get to say what the fuck I want, and you can't do shit about it.
Yeah.
And of course, he did cave on some shit, which is fine. I mean, I get it. You've got to protect your money, but to a certain extent, he's largely stayed to where he's, most people on the left hate him, but the guy's been pretty center.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like that's how you know you're doing it right. When you piss everyone off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when nobody agrees with you, you're doing good.
Yeah, that's true. I think there's a lot to learn there. Honestly.
Well, and there is. I mean, you're probing. I mean, shit. What's the old saying? If you're catching flack, you're over target.
That's true. Yeah, exactly. That's a good
I
one.
mean, and he does. He pisses off the left and the right, but the left is much more organized on who they're pissed at.
That's true. And that's the other thing. Like, man, at some point you would think the right would get better at this stuff, and they just suck at it.
Oh, they're terrible.
It's sad, man. I'm just so tired of watching like just weak people be weak in moments where you want some sort of strength. And yeah, we talk about like the onesies and twosies of that, like there's only so many Joe Kents, and he didn't even get elected. We need him to. Hopefully it happens this time. I mean, he should have. Don't get me wrong. That's another path I could go down. He should have been elected. Right. But
absolutely should have.
yeah. And I hope he gets it this time. And I'm going to do everything I can from my perspective financially to help that. But yeah, but we don't, he's still just one dude when he gets there,
Yeah.
I would love to see how they treat him.
Congress. I can't remember.
Say again.
Did he do Senate or Congress?
No, I did Congress at District 3 in Washington State.
I mean, there's hundreds of those. I mean, one guy, not going to say one guy can't make a difference because they absolutely can, but you've got to get the American citizens to a point where they elect, 70 Joe Kents.
Yeah. Right. That's what we need. We need a Joe Kent coalition.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and you've got to find people willing to run. I mean,
that's the other thing. And there's so much money that it takes, man. Like just talking to Joe is it's crazy how much money it requires to even be competitive, let alone have a real chance at winning.
Well, and then you've got to be open to all the attacks. And I mean, God bless the man for doing it. He's got kids.
Yeah, exactly.
And I can't imagine putting myself in that position with my children. And I'm in an extremely red area, and I could probably weather it really well. That man is in a different area than I am, with a much different political base.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, the man loves his country enough to fucking go through it, so God bless him.
I agree 100%. And you're not going to find anybody running who's given more than he has, personally and professionally. Like
no, absolutely not.
Those people should be slam dunks, and they're not.
No, and there was a time where they would have been, but we've apparently far left that, and everybody wants to vote for the free for me shit.
Yeah, jeez. All right, man. Yeah, that'll be part 2. The free for me world.
Get him back on, man. That was a good podcast.
Joe, yeah, no, he's busy running for real shit right now, but yeah,
he's got better shit to do.
Yeah, I need to definitely get him back. So we got some time before he runs again. Well, I mean, he is running, but before shit gets serious again. So yeah, no, that is a good idea. I want to get Terry back on. I need to talk to Terry again.
Dude, Terry, that was one of my favorite podcasts you did.
Terry's good. He's funny. Yeah, it's crazy to me that that's been 2 years too. Like this
Has it really?
Feels like fucking yesterday, man. Like I got the voicemail still on my phone from when he was like just talking shit about me. It was just hilarious. Like, all right, it's time for the podcast. But yeah. All right, man. I appreciate you hanging out. I know it's the school night out there, right? No.
I ain't worried about that. I'm 2 hours behind you.
I know you are. That's good. That is the one thing I say. The second best thing about California is the time zone.
Oh,
we'll miss that. I will miss 10 o'clock football. I already missed. I'm fucking watching Giants games taking off at 9:45. Dude, I was up till midnight last night, man. I'm just dying. At least they won.
Oh, did you get a real job after you retired?
Well, I haven't retired, but I do have a real job.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got to actually wake up at real people hours.
Yeah, I went back into the reserves. So, but yeah, I do got to get up at real people hours. Yeah, it's not that bad. It's just, just 9:45 games. Some are at 10:15. I have been lucky because the Giants usually they play a lot during the day, and on the weekends they're on prime time, or whatever, decent hours. But like this,
and that sunset it really takes a toll on your body. Like your body is programmed to shut down when that shit happens.
Yeah, I know. But that's how it was. At least now you can buy all this shit out of market, kind of like you're talking about with your football with the kids. But man, it reminds me of just growing up as a Giants fan because I was a Barry Bonds fan as a kid in Florida. It's like I never watched games. I watched SportsCenter. I watched see if Bonds hit home runs. Like that was my childhood. It's because I couldn't really watch him when he signed with the Giants. Like you can't watch Giants games. My parents weren't letting me stay up past 9 o'clock. Shit.
Yeah, no. No, my kids are in bed at 8, dude.
Yeah. I mean, so but now I can, and I'll pay the consequences for it by being tired all day. It's great. So, yeah, Giants about to start in a half hour, so it'll be fun.
Hell yeah, brother.
All right, dude. I really appreciate you hanging out, man. So like I
My
said-
pleasure.
All
Enjoyed
right,
it, man.
and
Thanks for
so
inviting
where
me
can
on.
they follow you? Do you know your name at this point?
Give
on
me 3
Twitter?
seconds. I
Yeah.
got to figure out what evolution I'm on at this current point in time.
What did you do to your phone? Did you shoot it? Jesus, look at that thing.
Dude, I'm rough on shit.
I don't even want
I break everything.
Yeah.
It's NOT WTF OMG BBQ on Twitter. I'm pretty
That's him.
fucking retarded.
So when I do
expect-
post this, it'll be it'll be Curtis, and then I'll put your at on the Twitter handle. So yeah,
Perfect, man. I appreciate it, Eric. This has been a blast, dude. I do
Yeah.
appreciate it, brother.
No, like I said, I definitely want to do it again because I could talk to you all fucking night, but you were 25
Oh,
minutes late, so this is your fault, not mine.
I'll take that. I'll own it, dude. That's my mistake.
No worries. It's fine.
You need to bring your ass down south, and I'll cook you some Wagyu.
Hey, that's right. We do have to have that conversation at some point. That's a good
Dude,
idea.
I got 3 freezers full of that shit at this point.
I don't know. Why don't you just give me a freezer? I'll drive it back. It'll be good. No, I'm
Come
just-
on with it. I got you covered. You come down, homie.
Actually, you know what? Let me get it. Let me have a conversation with you later because I got about to go back to my parents, and my dad's got a fucking brand new freezer just hanging out in his garage. He hasn't unpacked. I'm like, Dad, what are you even doing? Well,
Oh, come on.
yeah, I'll get with you.
I'm going and buying lambs this weekend because you can't find lamb at the grocery store here, and I want some damn euros.
Really? Oh,
Yeah, no, you ain't getting lamb out here. So
not even at
gonna
Costco.
Dude, Costco's 2 hours away.
Well, I mean, you got to drive anyway. I just didn't know if you get it from because you get a lot from Costco. I mean, lamb.
You
actually-
get rack
I get the
lamb.
lamb. I get my lamb, my ground lamb, like the lamb. I get that from there a lot too.
No, Lubbock, Texas is the closest Costco, and they have rack of lamb, but not ground lamb.
Right. Okay. Good deal.
So we're just gonna go buy them and murder them, and they're gonna taste amazing.
They really are. I wish you all the best out there, man.
Oh, we're gonna eat baby murdered lamb one day. I
Let's
got
do
you,
it.
man.
Yeah, let's
Come
do it.
on with it.
All right,
I'll
man.
come up that way one day. All right, man. Appreciate you having me. Have a great night.
Absolutely.
Tequila's better than bourbon.
No, it's absolutely not.